Peace, love, and light, amigos du planeta Terra, or friends of the earth. How are you all doing today? We're back, another interesting episode with me. So, I haven't been around. Recently I moved to Nashville, so that's been really like a huge change for me, just in my perspective on life, in my work habits and ethic, and just like kind of the unfolding of myself and really who I am and my purpose and my path, and sort of this greater balance, this struggle of sort of good and evil that I've been going with, that I think a lot of people have been dealing with as well. There's a certain type of, connectedness with us that we all experience in times of trouble and times of need and times of happiness. I think that right now the universe just really wants us to sort of see the similarities, understand the differences, of course, but see the similarities, and it's time to sort of start melting together on a conscious level, sort of everyone just living out their purpose for the universe, for themselves, for what they feel like brings them some sort of self-satisfaction really with this life. And so I think a greater purpose of this life too, anyone who's incarnated to planet Earth, is the self-satisfaction with yourself, with your life, with your creative self, with your emotional body, with all of these things that I feel like just are sort of all-encompassing within the greater experience of life really. And so I think that we're able to just sort of amalgamate and understand, like, we're all going through this at the same time in the same exact way, and it's all kind of different. But we constantly meet people that we have the same experiences with, the same synchronicities, similar life path really, similar life experiences. And so it's these moments of greatness that we see this and we're just like, wow, like we really are connected. I think that once you're able to just sort of grasp onto that aspect of connectivity, you are always living in that energy, and so you're just constantly attracting really positive connections to yourself. Even connections that are not so positive can often bring us the results that we need. I mean, how often have we met someone, when we first met them, we didn't like them, we couldn't stand them, they were this way, they were that way, we had a certain limited perspective of them at that moment, but then we got past the barriers and we just sort of figured, oh wow, like, I'm not so different from this person, and there was that sense of connectivity at that moment. And so I think it's looking at these things, even if the differences are apparent or subtle or known or unknown, there is this sense of connectivity that we are all the same. There's this oneness of this purpose, and so because of that, everyone is doing this in their own way. Everyone is discovering themselves. Everyone is creating a life for themselves. They can create this type of life for themselves. They can create another kind of life for themselves. There's this sense of openness that we get here on planet Earth, that we're able to have these various experiences of life, and that's really the beauty of it, is the choice of the experience as well as the connectivity to it, no matter how far away you think that you may be to another person or entity or place or thing or whatever. It's all sort of, there's this oneness to it. And so I find, like, whenever we think that, like, we're so different from someone else, like, there's just this lightning flash and you kind of see that, oh wow, like, I'm not so different from them. And it's literally that just simple moment of recognition. And I think if we had more of these moments, that there would, like, be people that get along better. If there just wouldn't be this sort of ego attachment to it that's unnecessary, that really hinders us from making appropriate connections with ourselves that help our life path, that help our life purpose. We do attract people into our lives, of course, that always direct some sort of path into us, and so it's often how we choose to handle that and that energy. And you can create whatever situation you want. Like, you're not limited to any person or situation. It's a constant creation really. And so once you just sort of believe and see that you're open to the experience of meeting other people, like if you feel like you're alone all the time, you just say to yourself, I'm not alone. I'm one with the universe. I'm not alone. Love awaits me. And suddenly you just start to connect with people. It's like you're taking yourself out of your shell and you're just grasping onto that connectivity. People start coming into your life and you feel better and you feel like, oh, I'm not so alone. Like, I think loneliness is something that a lot of people struggle with. I've struggled with this myself. And as I was astrological poem I came across on this forum, it said for Aquarius, you know, you are the gift of basically knowledge, of future awareness, and because of that you are the loner, and also you have a sort of sense of detachment to people, so, and that way you're so much of a loner. And to myself, I am an Aquarius rising. My ascendant is Aquarius in astrology, and so there's this dynamic here that I've always felt like a loner because I'm different, because I see things in a different way, because, you know, in my opinion, I'm always on things, and then years later people are like coming to me saying this, and I'm like, but I was saying this the whole time and no one was listening to me, and it's been happening a lot, and it's really funny. And so when I read that poem, I was like, wow, I get it, you know. And so loneliness serves its purpose, of course, but I think once we're ready to come out of that and reach on and go to other people and have other connections and reach on to that connectivity, you just really have to just say these affirmations to yourself every day. Affirmations work. They put in effect into your subconscious actions that you want to create for yourself. And so if you're constantly thinking these things for yourself, you will start to manifest, because the mind is simply a tool for manifestation, really, for co-creation. And so affirmations help us to start this. You know, it's not simply just saying it. That's sort of putting it into your subconsciousness, putting it into your egoic mind. This is what you want to achieve. The egoic mind is our individual self. It helps us to achieve things. It is sort of what gives us this desire in a greater scheme. And so you're using your ego for those purposes. You're using it to help yourself benefit from whatever you want, because the ego is not necessarily a horrible thing. Once again, it's a balance. The ego is simply what drives you. And so many times the ego is subjected to earth consciousness really heavily, because earth consciousness is really like thrown at us. We're taught that we're a certain race, gender, class, social group, whatever, religion, beliefs. I mean, people get really attached to earth consciousness, and so it's like really like that's sort of the egoic mind. It's separating yourself from that earth consciousness, because it's so easy to get drawn into that earth consciousness. The earth consciousness is about getting forward, getting ahead, like success, all that, but sometimes it's at the expense of other people, and so it lacks that universal, that spiritual, that connectivity to everything that exists. And so once we're dealing with these aspects, this balance of self and universe, really, it's kind of creating these things in your life that you want to achieve. And so you say these affirmations so that the subconsciousness, the egoic mind, it's busy doing this purpose, but you want it to help you. So you're utilizing this in a really positive way. You want to be a balance. You want to use your ego. You want to use your spiritual truth, your vision, your creation, your art, whatever you feel like self-satisfies you, your spiritual purpose. That's also a part of this universe aspect, because once you're a part of the universe and you sort of awaken to that realization that you are one with the universe, you start to see your path, your purpose. You understand this. You're constantly having these experiences with people around you that are helping you to remember this. And so you can't really escape from this in a way. It's kind of like, oh, you've had this realization, you're awakened, so guess what? It's your responsibility. And it's like, whoa, it's a lot, but I think it's not, because you can just really do what you feel like you need to do to bring you self-satisfaction in very simple ways. You don't have to go save the world or, you know, cure world hunger and all that. That's, you know, that's great. That's maybe like a greater goal that we need for this connectivity. Of course, if more people start to tap into this universal aspect of themselves, this connectivity, I think that we would see world change, because we would all be thinking on a global level that, oh wow, this is not good for us as a planet. Like, we forgot that we are connected to all, each other, animals, plants, the earth, Mother Earth, a living goddess energy herself. So it's very attainable, but it starts with the self. So once you start getting yourself in tune with your consciousness, with your life path, with your purpose, you start to meet other people that are doing the same thing. And after a while, like, people have these same sort of passions, like, wow, a lot of us really do want to have world change, so let's direct our energies into that, like as a group energy. Of course you can do it alone, but we all know energy is strengthened by numbers, and so it's just reaching out to those people in your life that are there and seeing the beauty of life, just opening yourself up to that experience and being that universal aspect of yourself.